Back with more Avatar The Last Airbender. This is episode 16 of season 1. Very excited, as always, to continue with what's going to be happening next as we get into the final kind of quarter of this season. Not really a secret, I'm loving the show and I'm really excited to see where they're going to take the story. Last episode we had that creature that can track things by smell, and that caused a lot of problems. Zuko's next attempt to try and capture Aang didn't work out too well, shocking. But really cool kind of exploration there of kind of being left out and an outcast from a group. The links that Aang and Sokka and Zuko could all kind of relate to in terms of that theme. So, as ever, some really interesting character stuff and themes that the show's exploring, as I'm sure they'll continue to. But yeah, without further ado, let's just get into the next one. The Deserter, is it? Deserter? I barely know her.
I'm starving.
Mood.
I think we'll find something to eat here. Look at this. Hey, a poster of me.
Oh.
A wanted poster. And this could be my only chance to watch the Masters up close. I guess we could go check it out. What?
And I'm sure it will go swimmingly well. Yeah, I was going to say that... Oh. Take it we're going to be seeing that guy? I think that was Zuko underneath that, wasn't it, with his mask?
It's like you're a whole different person. Where are we gonna get masks like that? Get Fire Festival masks here. That was surprisingly easy.
I'd love to go to something like this. Yeah, fair. Oh, that was a waste of a puppet. Oh, fire festivals, eh? No, oh, yeah,
Trying to upstage me, kid.
that was the trick. Oh, heck. Well done, Aang. Good job. I mean, he thought she was going to get hurt, but...
I can get you out of here. Over there.
Ah, careful, there's Cabbage Man here. Ooh. What's going to happen here, do you think? Baby, you're a firework. Does look cool. Again, the lighting on this show. Oh, so good.
Setting off the fireworks. He's enlightened. You mean there's a firebender out here who's not with the Fire Lord? We've got to go see him. He can train
Teach
me.
you.
It can't hurt just to talk to him.
That's what you said about going to the festival. Why doesn't anyone ever listen to me?
Well.
Don't move.
I wasn't planning to.
So the Avatar was here. You let him slip away.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. We're going after the Avatar.
Shocking. Oh, yeah, it's the guy from the wanted poster.
To this control, to master the bending disciplines, you must first master discipline itself. But you have no interest in this, so I have no interest in you.
He's got a point there.
Get out. Before learning firebending, you must learn water and earth. Fire will spread and destroy everything in its path if one does not have the will to control it.
Because fire, they can create fire themselves, can't they? But the others just kind of affect what's already there. So that kind of makes sense. Oh, that was dramatic.
You will teach the Avatar firebending. Yes, yes. I will teach you.
Really? That's great.
Well.
Even that oaf knows to concentrate on what he's doing.
Hey!
Aw. I mean, it is tough when you're that young as well, I think.
You brought me up here to breathe?
Assume your stance. Why down?
Better than not breathing.
Not even
Why down?
10 hours later.
I already know how to squat and breathe and feel the sun. I want to know how to shoot fire out of my fingertips.
Teach me firebending. Wait, not like that.
He was only concerned with the power of fire, how he could use it to destroy his opponents and wipe out the obstacles in his path. But fire is a horrible burden to bear. Its nature is to consume, and without control, it destroys everything around it.
I promise I'll be more patient.
We are going to work with fire now.
Zuko hasn't often been patient, and, you know, look what that's got him so far.
But I'm ready to do so much more.
Are you, though? Oh, don't... Oh, no.
Now that's fire bending.
Oh, my God.
Hurt yourself.
Another village is going to burn down.
Katara! I'm so sorry!
Katara, what's wrong? What did you do?
It was an
Jeez.
accident. I was... Katara...
You don't have control!
I told you we shouldn't mess around with this.
Oh my God, that took a fucking turn. Can we go back to the magician guy?
Burned my sister.
The hell? Whoa.
Healing abilities. The great benders of the water tribe sometimes have this ability. I
Whoa.
always wished I were blessed like you. Fire brings only destruction and pain. It forces those of us burdened with its care to walk a razor's edge between humanity and savagery. Eventually,
Interesting.
we are torn apart.
Just like that, for instance. Whoa. Burn them all.
I can't believe my former master has become nothing more than a simple savage.
It is you who have embraced savagery, Zhao.
It's Admiral Zhao now.
That title will
I think I can handle a child.
I have
And that's
never
why you're gonna
seen
lose,
more
pal.
power.
Try it, bitch.
It's a trick.
Whoa.
Run off into the woods.
No self-control.
Yep.
Ahoy! I'm Admiral Zhao!
Oh, maybe he's falling for this. Like, who is actually the child here?
I don't know why, but I thought you'd be better than Zuko.
And that one's really gonna burn.
Sloppy.
Just destroying his own boats. You moron.
John said you had no restraint.
Hey, where'd everybody go?
Oh, Jesus.
Very
Oh.
funny, guys.
Oh dear.
Wow, that's good water.
When did you learn how to do that?
I guess I always knew.
Oh, well then thanks for all the first aid over the years. When I fell into the greaseberry bram, that time I had 2 fish hooks in my thumb.
2?
He tried to get the first fish hook out with another fish hook.
Oh, and the time that big snake bit me. Thanks for healing that up. That's great. Really helpful.
Oh, the sarcasm feeds me. Okay, another fantastic episode. It was cool to see them re-explore the idea of Aang having to master all the things, and like his duties as the Avatar, and the fact that he's still at heart a naive child, and you know he's still always going to kind of behave that way until he gets older, matures, and learns a bit. But I think at this point he's learning this lesson quite a few times, so we must be making some sort of progress, you know. But it was cool to actually see an episode about Aang trying to like focus more so on the fire as opposed to other elements that we've kind of seen him try to learn before. Made sense that we haven't really had that because he's often, you know, the Fire Nation are against him, so he doesn't really have anyone to teach him. So it was cool to get the opportunity to meet someone who kind of cast themselves out, I guess, of the Fire Nation and was able to teach him even something a bit, you know, something little. I mean, obviously, I think this is book 1. It's called Water, right? So I imagine water is like the big focus of this season. So to still get bits about earthbending and firebending is fun little additions that I really enjoyed. And this kind of ties back into a few episodes back now. I can't remember exactly when it was. Oh, it was Jet, I think, actually, episode 10. About like not every single person in the Fire Nation is like bad or evil or whatever. You know, there are some good members of the Fire Nation that just want to get on with their lives and live peaceful day by day things. So we kind of got that again here. with that whole group. Is it John and his group? So everything with that was really cool and interesting, and again, it just makes the world feel a bit bigger and a bit more lived in, and allows Aang to have a bit of growth about his self-control and his restraint. And the fact that he then ended up using his own flaw in this episode against Zhao at the end made a lot of sense. So I like that they showed like he really did learn that lesson, because he took it on practically in a fight. And in an episode kind of focusing on him trying to learn firebending and stuff, he won the battle by, you know, being on the defensive and not throwing a single punch, not using a single kind of fire move or anything, and not letting himself lose control in the way that Zhao did, and that was his undoing in this one. And Zuko often has. You know, I mentioned a few episodes back, Zuko often seems to be at his best in a fight in anything when he's not using fire. He just lets that do all the work, I guess, even though it needs to kind of come from the person wielding it, not the fire itself. I think, you know, they need to treat the fire as like an extension of who they are, instead of just what they are and what they're, you know, how they fight. Which Zuko's yet to understand, I think, and Zhao definitely doesn't understand. He's all about power, 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 because that's just the kind of jerk he is. But again, bringing him back into it and having him be like this rebellious Kylo Ren-esque student of the other guy was a cool kind of bit of character for him, you know, a bit of backstory there, showing how people can lose their way. Is history going to repeat itself with Zuko in terms of that? I like to think not, because I feel like Zuko has been shown in the past to defeat Zhao in a battle, so I think that kind of shows that, you know, maybe deep down he can be like a better person than Zhao is as well. Maybe he won't completely succumb to it. But the idea of like having control of your own abilities and patience as well is a thing that Aang certainly doesn't really have. We see multiple occasions he just jumps into things because he thinks, oh, this will be fun, let's just do this, because he's like 12 years old or whatever, really. So you can kind of understand that, but again, it's the burden of being the Avatar that's on him, that he needs to kind of unlearn that, and he needs to kind of grow up a bit ahead of his time, sadly. But unfortunately, that's the way it is with him. But I think the fact that of all people he hurt as well by just rushing through things, the fact that he hurt Katara, I think that will really kind of stick with him, and maybe that will put him off firebending for a little bit, but we have time for him to get there, you know. He can learn that one last. I actually think the teacher guy, that made a lot of sense, I think, when he was talking to Aang about why he should master fire last, because you can like create fire yourself, and it's very deadly and destructive, and by learning, you know, mastering water, mastering earth, that you can learn a bit more discipline, a bit more control, and then that's going to make it a lot more helpful when you actually get to having to master fire, because it can cause all that destruction and stuff, and often self-destruction, I think, is the real destruction that fire has seemingly in this show. You know, I think Zuko tends to be his own worst enemy when it comes to that. Zhao certainly is as well. And I think the fire that they control kind of consumes them and burns them from within, and they don't notice it until it's too late, and they let their anger control them. They haven't really mastered that yet either, but Aang can learn to, and I think that's going to be what separates him. That's why he'll ultimately kind of, I think, hopefully, always win the day in the end, and why Zuko and Zhao have both neither been able to catch Aang just yet, or at least not keep him, that's for sure. So yeah, I liked bringing Zhao back into it. And seeing Che, I kind of feel bad for him because everyone's just like disappeared and he's like, where is everyone? That's kind of a sad ending for him, really, but maybe we'll see that lot again. Obviously they just escaped into the woods, so they're still out and about, it's not like they're dead or anything, but to see a different kind of sides of the Fire Nation again was a lot of fun, and to just see actually how the Fire Nation can kind of live their lives and celebrate and stuff. That festival thing was quite fun. The magicians and the food they were selling, just again that bit of world building that I really like. And the best thing I think about having an episode kind of focused on the fire side of things is that the lighting once again is like mwah in this show, because my god, when they like first arrived at the festival place, or like everything with that, like the contrast to the night sky with like the fire all around, oh so good. I don't often kind of appreciate that and pay attention to it, but there's something about this show that I think really excels in it. So that was all very good. We also had an adorable moment with Momo and Appa when they're like, oh, you know, stay out of sight, and Appa's just there like behind the little bush. Adorable. Again, just little moments like that. It just gives the characters a bit of like a memorable moment, even if they're kind of more so in the background for the majority of the episode. That was really fun. And alongside that, we had Katara actually being able to heal. And that's kind of a new ability that she seems to have unlocked. She must have leveled up during this episode and unlocked that. So that's a cool thing moving forward. I imagine that's going to be pretty damn useful going forward. And exactly the consequences of that, I'm sure that will come in pretty damn handy at some point. And of course, Sokka took that sarcastically immediately. But oh, I mean, you could have fixed this back then, you could have fixed this. Classic Sokka. But as soon as Katara got hurt by Aang, straight to her defence. Like, what the hell are you doing? I liked the protective brother instinct coming forward there. And just the fact that there was like some huge consequences there to Aang kind of just completely disrespecting and being misguided in how he's going about his training, just completely ignoring the advice he was getting. And, you know, that's the person he's closest to ended up getting hurt for it. And that was quite a gutsy thing to actually have Aang physically like burn his friend like that. And obviously if she hadn't been able to heal herself there, that could have been like an ongoing thing that would have been like, oh man. So again, this show is not afraid to get quite deep in terms of that. We've had genocide, so anything is kind of not as bad as that, I guess, going forward, in terms of like burning your friend. But still, I thought that was very well done and really hits the point home, I guess. It's a very stark example and a reminder for Aang. He needed something that drastic, I guess, as the wake-up call to be like, well, you know, I need to unlearn this way of teaching, because he was like, oh, teach me, and then as soon as he was starting getting taught, he was like, no, not like this. You know, it's not the best student is Aang, but I think he's still very young. He still needs to learn. And also what was being said about humanity versus savagery, that the fine line between that when you kind of wield fire. A very interesting thing with that as well, because Zhao is very much more on the savagery side, Aang's on the humanity side. Because, you know, if Zhao had been in that situation, he like overblown it and burned someone, he'd been like, well, get over it, you know, you'll be fine, patch yourself up. And then Aang was like, oh god, I've gone about this completely the wrong way, and kind of opened his eyes. That's obviously the difference there. So I like that they were talking about that scale of humanity and savagery, and they showed like the two sides of it, and which one you should ultimately be on, given how Zhao just ended up burning his own boats down, which is brilliant. I really liked that. Good way of teaching him that lesson as well. So yeah, some really interesting messages going forward with that. Some cool new abilities for Katara. And to an extent, Aang, he learned a bit about fire, I guess. Not a great deal, but I think he probably should just save that for the end, you know. Maybe Zuko can teach him if they become friends. That'd be fun. Or Iroh, even better. Iroh could teach him. I want that to happen. Oh my god, I so want that to happen. I'm going to be so disappointed. But yeah, some really cool stuff with that. Getting to see another side of the Fire Nation, how they kind of celebrate things. Just makes that world a bit more bigger, which they've done a great job of doing thus far with these 16 episodes. There are some real stakes there, some real character growth with Aang and Katara, their powers, Katara getting hurt as well. And yeah, just another really, really fun episode with some cool progression for the character and interesting themes about what you can represent and the dangers of, you know, only being able to master one element like most people can, the pros and cons of that. Some really cool debates going on with it, and who you can choose to be. You know, just because you are like a firebender or an earthbender or an airbender, a waterbender, that's not just, it's not as clean cut as that. That's not like the categories you fall in, because within firebending, you know, you can have control over it, or you can just let it kind of completely take over you. You can be, you know, humanity, savagery, even within just firebending. So there's lots of things about identity, I think, that this season's doing really interesting stuff with. Because it's not just, you know, fire, water, air, that's your label. It's so much deeper than that, which I like, because it makes it a lot more of an interesting world and makes all the characters individually seem unique and different and stuff. So I really enjoyed how they were kind of exploring that. And yeah, another really exciting episode. Looking forward to seeing how they continue on now. What on earth they're going to be doing next. Zhao's going to be pretty pissed, so I imagine when we next see him, he's going to come after them with quite a vengeance. Or maybe he'll learn, like, okay, I lost control there, I need to go about this differently. Because he was somewhat successful before when he got, like, the archers and stuff involved, like, when, is it episode 13, when Zuko in disguise was, like, sneaking Aang out. You know, he was somewhat capable in that one, but when he takes control himself, he sucks, and as he should, because what an awful person. But yeah, another really great episode. Looking forward to seeing what's going to be happening with the next 4 of this season as we start to get towards the end. And yeah, until my next reaction, thanks for watching.